from my given disaster. Speed away from the holy mind. Pride. That's where I never thought it would matter.
Alright guys, so we're in the middle of remodeling our office space, which that video will be posted soon. But what I figured this space is missing is a frame TV. So we already have a TV. I don't want to go and spend the money to buy a frame one, so we're going to try to create a frame for this TV from a 1x3. And so don't worry, I'm going to be using a miter saw and a brad nailer for this project, but I'm going to link in the description some alternatives to those that you can try, like a miter box and a plain old hammer and nails, which will allow you to get this project done too. So let's start the process. So what we're going to do is cut each of these pieces one by one. That's the best way to do when you're a beginner, to make sure that they're going to line up perfectly. So first step is you want to take the length of your TV. So ours is right at 43 inches. So what I'm going to do is take our 1x3 pine down to the miter saw and get that cut and bring it back up. And then we'll measure for each piece until we make a complete frame for this TV. So what I like to do is set my saw at 45 degrees, and I have my board sitting like this. Now the good thing about this miter saw is that I do have a laser line that shows me exactly where my cut is going to be. So what I'm going to do is make my first cut, and then we're going to measure from this inside point all the way down to 43 to make our second cut. So I hope that makes sense. This is the easiest way that I found how to do this. Okay, so what we've just done is our first cut, and this is technically a bevel cut, but I'm doing it as a miter so that you can see how you would line it up if you had a miter box instead of a miter saw. So the thing is, we need to make this exact same cut going the other way on the other side of this board. So I'm going to do the exact same thing, but I am going to measure from this point to 43 inches. So this inside point should be at the length of where you measure your TV, and these outside edges are going to line up with the other boards. It'll start to come together as you see me piece it. Okay, so I put my mark to where 43 inches is, and I've turned my miter saw to this 45 degree. So what you want to make sure is that your angle is going the right way. So I'm going to get this cut, and I'll show you how the board should look. So the beauty of this laser line is I can see where my cut is going to be. So I just want to line it up with that line, and then we'll cut. Okay, so as you can see, we have this side, it looks like this, and then we come all the way down, and this side looks like this. So that is the goal for all 4 of these cuts. So I'm going to take this back to the TV, make sure that this is the right length, and then we'll come back and make the rest of the cuts. Alright guys, now you can see why we made the cuts the way that we did at the saw. So now that I've lined this top piece up, I'm going to go back down and get the bottom cut. So I want both of the long pieces cut, and then I can measure for the 2 sides. So you'll see how these are going to all piece together to make the base of this frame. So let's go repeat that step 3 more times, and then we'll be done with this part. Okay guys, once we have that first piece cut and we know that it is right, what you can do is lay that piece on your next piece like this, and then take your measurement for that one, because we want these to be the exact same length. So all I'm going to do is make a mark here, and that is where we want that outside cut to be. So this is what we call a brad nailer, and so it shoots these very small nails out, and this is an 18 gauge by DeWalt. Now this is kind of expensive, so if you don't have one of these, you can always use just a regular nail and hammer, but try to find the smallest nail that you can. It'll make filling those holes a lot easier. So in order to connect this, what we want to do is put wood glue on this side, and I'm going to use my finger to smooth that on, and then I'm going to connect it with the next piece, and then use my right corner clamps to hold it together as I shoot those nails into it. So I'm going to repeat this step 4 times until we connect this entire frame. Okay, next step is we're going to be adding this lattice molding on top of this frame, and that's going to help cover the edge of the TV. So what I'm going to do is do miter cuts on both sides. So I bought my speed square, which is going to help me draw on that 45-degree angle where it needs to go, which will make cutting this a lot easier. Okay, now that this one is cut, as you can see, we have the 2 miter cuts on both sides. So I'm gonna go repeat that again, going all the way around this frame. So I'm gonna use this piece to do my second side, come back and measure for my 2 lengths, and then that's it. Okay, now that we have all the sides of our lattice molding cut, what we're going to do is use wood glue and our brad nailer to secure it to the frame that we built around the TV. Last step will be staining this and adding some detail to it, and then getting the elastic band on the back to strap it to the TV, and we'll be finished.
Talk to me nice, talk to me honestly. Look in my eyes, don't let it fall on me. Say you're a good guy, make me believe it. Don't wanna hear it, I wanna see it. See how rewind, when we rewind, it feels so nice. Sweet time, you and I.
Alright guys, now that it's all put together, we're about to make it look pretty. So I'm going to go through with some wood filler, get these nail holes filled, fill in some of these gaps right here, and get this sanded really well. Then I'm going to stain it with Early American, and then I think I'm going to do a little design on here with some trim, which is optional, and then we'll get this attached to the TV.
Yeah, sweet concussion. Oh, you miss my touching. You do. Show me something. Give me more than one thing. I need more than less than I do. Say you're a good guy. Make me believe it. Don't wanna hear it. I wanna see it. See how. Rewind. When we rewind, it feels so nice. I can't help how. Let the sweet talk
All right, guys, so the frame is done. I love how it turned out, and it's going to really help tie this entire room together. And if you want to see how this room turns out after I finish the desk, make sure to check out the video on that full renovation. But until then, be strong, be courageous, and go out and build some shit.